Oh, it's another one of these. Everybody's like, well, does Danny White not ever? I mean, why is he always laughing? I'm telling you what, we have these conversations before I come on the recording. And so to me, I just get so cracked up about it. All right. So let me do some housekeeping. I'm Danny White. Welcome to the Mental Fitness Mastermind presented by mentalfitness.care and the Athlete Mental Health Certification Program, where athletes are going to be taking care of athletes and helping them battle and get through. And we're going to teach the stakeholders how to help athletes, in those mental struggles that they have. So if you're an athlete, you have a position on our team. If you're a mental health professional, you certainly have a position on our team. Mental fitness professional like the guest that I have on today, or a sports psychologist, you definitely have a position on our team. But we're going to go even further than that. If your world revolves around athletes, if you're a major brand, if you're a brand that you're in the ecosystem of athletes, and that's all you do is deal with athletes, then we certainly have a spot for you on our team. We're going to talk to you, we're going to work together, and we're going to develop something that's going to really help athletes. And so one of the things that we all know as athletes, the winning teams don't have the best player on them. They have the collection of players that come together the best and have a common goal. And so that's what we're trying to do with the masterminds. We're trying to bring a collection of like-minded people, like-minded athletes together with professionals and solve a problem that's really, it's been around for a while. It's just now getting the press that, it deserves. I was speaking with my guest, Tracy Alston from Mental Fitness Matters earlier before we logged on. And one of the things that we both agree on is now that the Olympics are kind of winding down, the athlete mental health is a big deal because it's in the media. And we really don't want that to stop. We want to keep the ball rolling because momentum, just like in any sport, once you get momentum, you can really make some things happen. But if you stop momentum, and we've all seen it, it's very easy to get it stale and stagnant and not get the attention that it deserves. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that we're trying to do here. And we're going to be partnering up with a lot of professionals to make that happen. Okay. So now it's time to meet one of your teammates. And again, the kind of the format, the way that I do things, I don't tell you all about the guest and then have her tell you all about her. I go ahead and let her speak for herself. Now, in the box below, we'll put all the pertinent information, all of her websites, all of her contact information, all of the things that you would need that you could reach directly out to her. So all of that's there. Okay. So let's meet your teammate, Tracy Alston from Mental Fitness Matters. Hey, Tracy, a long time
Hey.
waiting for this.
Hey. So glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, buddy, and all the work that you're doing.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad to be part of it. And again, I want to say if she cuts out, that's just something that's going to happen, but we're going to circle the wagons. We'll get all the pertinent information in there. So go ahead, Tracy. The floor is yours again.
Awesome. My name is Tracy Alston. I am a licensed clinical mental health counselor, feedback and neurofeedback, which are alternative ways to train and treat the body and learn how it responds under stress. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have two companies. One's called Mental Edge Fitness Solutions, and the other one's called New Mentality, both located in North Carolina. I'm a former college athlete. I played Division I basketball at Wake Forest University. Go Deeks!
I knew you were going to do that. I tried to beat you to it.
I'm passionate about mental health, mental fitness. So you guys can download that on all platforms. But my passion, my vision is really kind of very similar, where so many synergies kind of coming into these communities. How do we get services, solutions, resources, people, networks connected, and speaking about the importance of our mental health and mental fitness, but also providing real life solutions to help people perform at their peak? Not when crisis happens, but all along the way. I really believe in training so that we are better able and better equipped to handle out life. We want to be prepared as possible. So that's my background. I'm glad to be here, part of the community.
So, I really appreciate the fact that, Tina Bartoletta, Tiana, is it Tiana or Tina Bartoletta? The
Bartoletta, that name sounds familiar.
she's a track star, you know, American athlete for the Olympics, just really a really bright young star. And she said something in an article, a
Yeah,
blog that she wrote today. I shared it on the LinkedIn and the Facebook social media. Basically, I shared it. She said something about prehab. We got to get to prehab with the mental side of things instead of just rehab as you get physically hurt, and you get rehab. She
love
mentioned
that.
something in this article. I'd never heard that before. I was like, wow, I love that statement. Zach Brandon, mental skills coordinator for the Arizona Diamondbacks, he's the one that shared it first, and I seen that and I thought, you know what, prehab, that's beautiful. Because what you said is, and I know your company very well. I know what you're doing, and you're doing some great things, and I'm a fan. And what you said is, we got to bring programs that actually are logical, but are actually real world effective. It's not just talk, it's real world effective. And that's what you address.
Absolutely. And when we think about the science and the availability of technology that we have nowadays with my company, especially with Mental Edge Fitness Solutions, we're able to map the brain. So we do what's called a QEEG brain map, where we can get how well their brain and body responds under stress, their sleep, their recovery. So we're looking at everything that's going on inside of the mind. Wow. So that we can really take a close look before we start any type of training or any type of implementation of services. We want to get to the baseline of what is the brain doing, what's the potential power in that, and how can we help people perform better from a neurological state first.
That's pretty amazing. And so do you compare, the best brain? When I say the best brains, I'm talking about the most functional, the active brains, the ones that are performing at a high level. Do you get that data, and then you can compare where, okay, maybe this is firing over here and this is not firing here. So if we can move to getting some more activity on this side, and that's how you map out what you need to do in terms of the mental health practice. Is that what
you got it? We look at the Absolutely, you just nailed it. So we're able to look at a database of so-called healthy brains, ones that haven't really kind of had any trauma, any medications, those types of things kind of going on, and comparing that to other brains in the same age group of population. And we're able to get information on how well people are functioning. And so we're assessing your brainwave energy, and so how fast or how slow things are moving. And then we're able to set up training protocols to help people find their baseline and really begin to stress or anxiety or trouble focusing. We can actually see that in the brain and really kind of start a program of training from there.
Wow, the science is becoming so important. I mean, it's always been important, but it's just mind blowing, literally.
Literally.
So, okay, that's a little bit about you as a kind of in what you're doing professionally. Let's talk about you as an athlete. What was the toughest mental health challenge that you've ever faced as an athlete? I mean, I'm sure that it kind of evolved, from being young and all the way through your college, but if you had to pinpoint, so there's another person out there that's your doppelganger going through it, what is the toughest mental health challenge that you faced as an athlete?
I love this question because really my toughest mental challenge has landed me where I am today. I remember being a sophomore at Wake Forest University. Growing up, all I could think about was basketball. Or even so I was decent in school, right? I was decent in school, a lot of attention focus there. I just kind of stood up my work, pretty good grades in university, but I didn't really focus a lot of attention there. I was really focused more on my sport. But my sophomore year at Wake Forest University, we were coming away from a road game. On the road back from a away game, I had a paper due the next day. So I'm in the van, filling out the paperwork, kind of getting things done, trying to do my paper, finish up my assignment. I forgot to cite the sources cited page. I turned that in the next day, and I got suspended from school for a semester. That's a big deal. Like, it was at
I know.
My entire world came to a halt. It's like, wait a minute. I got suspended from school, for my family's resources where we could actually keep me training and staying in shape. But my coach said, you're going to have a spot here. It's going to be up to you to go home and train and kind of stay in shape. But you're going to have to go and catch up on your credit hours. So I was able to go to NC State. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. I was able to go to NC State and keep my courses going so I could stay on track to graduate. But I was able to come back that next year. And Danny, when I tell you, my focus was different. My mindset was different. My appreciation and understanding of what I had at my disposal was so much different. It changed my life. Because I remember sitting at home, away from my teammates, away from the school, away from everything that I loved. It was just me and me. And I remember at that moment, I said, it would be great if I had somebody to really process and talk to about this from a psychological standpoint of what that does to your mentality and your identity when you're removed from a thing that you love and the only thing that you know. So thankfully, I had the support of my parents and my family and my friends, but that really set me on a different track mentally, but also academically. So I went to NC State, finished up my courses there, got all A's in that program, 4.0, transferred them.
I wish I could have been there with you.
I made the dean.
You could have tutored me.
Defender. Yeah, but I was all hard. I just didn't apply it, right? And so then I got focused on school and my academics and learning and being present. And I made the dean's list. I was an all ACC defender. So I was able to leave with accolades from the academic as well as sports side and so much more aware and grateful. So that's probably one of my biggest mental health challenges was really getting removed, not really take appreciation of the opportunity that I had and having to be set out for a semester.
So you had identity crisis, you had isolation crisis, you had abandonment issues, you had, you talk about, you had, doubt, self-doubt, you had depression. You talk about any anxiety of, am I going to be able to do this? What are the people, then the pride thing, which we all have, the ego thing, which is now you're embarrassed, you let everybody down. You got that stigma laying over your head that people think that you might not have been an ethical student just because you made a young error, and I think that, that's one of the things that your situation is not unique. It's just something that you have the success story to go with it. But how many student athletes, I remember, I can say this, I can be embarrassed. When I went to junior college, I thought, hey, whatever, I could have went to Division I, but I had I had a 1.8 grade average. That's how low it was. I was like, class, I'm not supposed to go to class. What is that? But then when it came time to get recruited out of junior college at semester, so I could transfer, I didn't have the grades to transfer. I was too low in the academic requirement. So I missed going to Arkansas. I missed going to SMU. I missed going to Baylor. All these schools that were recruiting, I missed out on all that because I didn't pay attention to my classes because I didn't know. I should have known. That's not an excuse, but I should have, but I wasn't paying attention. So when you're talking to these student athletes, you got to get in their head and say, okay, now I want you to understand. You have to know where you're at because listen, when all my friends were leaving, all of them were going to this university, that university, and I'm sitting here going, what the hell? You know what I mean? There's some crisis going on there. You know what I mean? There's a letdown. It worked out for the better, but that's something academically as a challenge, as a mental health and student athlete, especially. That's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
It's so true. It's so true because a lot of times we are so focused on our sport because a lot of times that's how we get into these schools. You get a scholarship, you're in there, you're focused on your sport and you're not recognizing that, wait a minute, you're going to be leaving here one day or where you are in college. And so there does need to be a bigger focus, especially for our young athletes right now in college situations. You're listening to this, making sure that you're taking advantage of the opportunities that are before you. I remember I had one of the most amazing advisors. She told me, she said, okay, Tracy, once you leave here, you're going to be walking away with a degree from Wake Forest University that can open up doors for you for decades beyond your playing basketball abilities. Absolutely. So making sure that you're getting academic requirements and all the things in the success tool where you are, because they're using you in the sense of getting your athletic skill set and your physical abilities. Make sure that you're on the same receiving when it comes to what you're supposed to be learning and taking away from a lifelong perspective.
Beautiful. And so you just answered my next question. I said, you know, how did you defeat that challenge, or what advice can you give other challenges? You know, you say you defeated it by just throwing yourself hard into it, by going into the junior college and working your tail off and doing what got you there in the first place, is not giving up, and credit to you and your family for sticking with you, and you worked your way through it. So, you know, and then what you're saying to how can you give the advice you can give to others, you know, you need to, pay attention to the little details, pay attention to your support group, make sure that you have a support group. Because one of the things that I think needs to have more discussion is when we say student athletes, just because I'm not making an A in algebra, making a D and a C, took it twice. I should be a genius at it. My mind wasn't paying attention. I never settled in, but once I finally settled into it and thought, okay, I can't run from it, then I did great in it. But the student athletes, just because we're studying game plan, we're studying film, we're not just going out there and you know, throwing the ball around and running around and doing all those things. The student athlete part is we're studying at the high level, at the college level, at the high level and the pro level. You're never not a student. You're always studying. And so the brain, as you know more than I, has so much power in it for these active, really cognitive thoughts, you know, and before we kind of get burnt out in a way. And when we're trying to learn a new scheme and we're trying to plan for the game, and then we've still got to figure out a new quadratic formula, which is, I've never used it yet to this day. Dr. Vance, I told you I would never use it. Would you not agree, though? We're student athletes outside of just the classroom. Quadratic formula.
All day long.
I've never used that thing.
We are right.
I hate that.
We're constantly studying, learning. We're students of the game. I mean, we're students of life. We're students of habit. We're students of training. We're students of performance, you know? And so I think that athlete in us doesn't allow us to really shut off, you know? And so having places and spaces and resources to make sure that you're checking in on yourself mentally, because we're so used to go, 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 go. That's why I'm so glad to see, you know, people on a larger level of the playing field saying, wait a minute, I got to take a break. I got to take a pause. I need to take care of myself first, you know? And so when I think about overcoming the mental challenge that I faced as a college athlete, was able to now use that in terms of how I'm building my companies and my businesses to make sure that we're providing solutions for people at that level and beyond, that there's a mental fitness component in each area of your life, because it's important, it's necessary. You know, you can't do anything without your brain. And if you're not taking care of it, just like you're doing your physical body, then you're going to decline. You're not going to be at your best. And when things happen, when life happens, it's going to hit you a little harder if you're not mentally fit, in the sense of really training yourself to be more resilient, to be more compassionate, to be more aware. And I love that part about us.
I definitely think that in the curriculum of, you know, athletes, I think, you know, they have all these classes in college, which is great, fine. Everybody's got different interests, but I definitely think as we move forward, there will be more emphasis on classes that are original classes. I mean, that's one of the things that you have with your program, and that, you know, we're going to be teaming up with the Athlete Mental Health Certification. So we're going to prepare some curriculum, you know, that actually addresses this, not just for the athlete, but for the stakeholders, for the moms, the dads, the coaches, you know, the people that are in that arena. Now, one of the things that I was saying, you know, the people on the front lines are the trainers, the people that are wrapping your ankle, the people that are, you know, icing down your knees, the people that, now, if you ever think about, like in waves of war, you have the grunt soldiers, the people that are in first. They're the ones on the ground. They're the ones that are making the wave. Okay. They have the dirty jobs, but they're the ones that are on the ground. They feel the heat of the battle, the heat of the torch first. Trainers. I mean, because the first thing you think about when you get hurt as an athlete is, oh my God, am I going to lose my position? Am I going to lose my identity? Am I ever going to play again? Am I ever going to be able to be, you know, totally healthy again? So these trainers they're focused. They're right there with them. They're dealing with that. And so for them to be able to acknowledge those signs and to be able to dissect those signs and say, okay, here's a resource that you should check this out. Here's a resource you should check this out. I think it's important for the trainers to, and you know what I mean, to be trained in that. What do you think?
Absolutely. I certainly agree. Being able to kind of have that first look and understanding of, okay, this is what I'm seeing, but I'm able to also see that there's so many steps after and while we're trying to recover and heal this injury from a physical state, from an emotional or mental state. And you're exactly right, Danny. And one of the things we love to do on our end is work with breathing, visualization type training, because
you broke up. Please repeat that again, because that's a profound
as
thing.
your used breath, and so can our brains. And I was saying that one of the tools that we offer alongside of helping, whether it's trainers assess what needs to be next in terms of the mental side of this, we look at our breathing and visualization, visualizing yourself recovering a lot quicker, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so you're right. I think if trainers have the understanding of what resources to connect people with, it's so much better for the athletes or the people that are involved.
So, I mean, 100%. And I can see, you know, these clubhouses and training rooms, I can see them being equipped with, you know, things like you guys do with affiliations and you know, because like I said, you know, just having position coaches, you're going to be needing that mental coach as well. And I think that's just going to add to it. And if you're not doing it, I think at some point you'll just be behind. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's coming. I mean, it's definitely coming. You know, when athletes get behind anything, again, I'm prejudiced because I love athletes, you know, but when athletes get behind anything, we figure it out. We make it work. We're winners. We make it work. And that's why empathy is so big. You know, the acronym. What's that?
I was saying we're winners. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like with the athlete mental health certification, I come up with this action plan RACE, recognize, you know, R.A.C.E, recognize when an athlete's suffering and struggling with a mental health crisis and poses a danger to themselves and others, recognizing it. You know, that's the one thing that, you know, when Simone Biles had her situation, all right, when everybody was looking at her going, you know, what, because they didn't recognize it. It's so been shoved away so long. So here's the strongest mentally person they've ever seen, and they didn't recognize that because they just didn't put her in that category. All right, so we've got to teach people to recognize the telltale signs. Okay, whether for what you do, you recognize it and all across the board with your education and where you're at, but you've learned how to do something where you can actually see an image and do data points and look at it, and you can recognize it through that way, which is, hey, that's amazing. That's just a bonus.
Yeah.
And then acknowledge the athlete and let them know that they're not alone. Okay. And that's the outpouring of support, and the other, you know, athletes supporting Naomi and supporting some, you know, Miss Biles. And there's so many more athletes that say, hey, you're not alone. We're with you. Okay. So acknowledging is a big thing, because no matter how famous they are, no matter how great they are, at the end of the day, you know, when they get off by themselves, they're alone. It is them. They're there with their thoughts. And so you got to acknowledge that. And no matter who you are, you don't want to be alone. And that's real important. And then connect. Okay, we want to connect the athletes with people like yourself, businesses and professional sports psychologists, behavioral health specialists. We want to connect them with the right people. Connect them with the right people. Don't try to give therapy. Understand our role, our position in the team, and then make the connection with people like yourself and professionals like yourself. And then obviously have empathy. It's hard to have empathy for somebody if you don't really know where it's at. If I was looking at an astronaut and he's having this issue, I really can't empathize with him. I can kind of go, okay, as a human being, I can understand you have this struggle, but I can't really relate to him. So there's that. And so with the athlete mental health certification, we want athletes trained, people that are stakeholders that understand this is what they're going through, whether they do it at a professional level or at a base level, it's still the same. It's an athlete going through it. Does that make sense?
That's huge. I love that. I love where this is going. It's huge. It's necessary.
Thank you so much. And like I said, you're the OG in the mental fitness space. I mean, you're the one that, you know, when I started thinking of this and coming up with this and developing and collaborating with people a year ago, you know, I probably could recite some of your website. You know, I have just read so much of it, and the science of it. I love that too. So, okay. So what is your day as an athlete, but you know, what's your daily mental health routine? What do you do? Do you read? Do you get motivated? I mean, how do you do it? How do you stay on top of your game?
I am a big protector of my mornings.
Okay.
I win my day in the morning. So my morning routine really consists of me waking up around 5 o'clock. And when I get up, I meditate for at least 30 minutes. You know,
Okay.
so I have a meditation practice that I really am, that's where I'm really kind of quieting my mind. I believe that if you can allow the first 15 minutes of your time, your brain's energy, making sure you're not picking time to allow your brain to really just settle in and create. And so I do a lot of just meditation, and then I really do some intentional affirmations and visualization.
Nice.
My exercise routine is important. So the first hour and a half to 2 hours of my day is filled with mental training from a meditation, breathing, visualization, affirmation standpoint, and then a physical workout where I can kind of move my body, kind of get going in that way. But with my company, Mental Edge Fitness Solutions, we create.
Please repeat that last. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please
start my day. And
I'm sorry. Please repeat that last. My company, mental health, or mental fitness solutions, mental fitness edge solutions. Please repeat that last thing. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah. At Mental Edge Fitness, we have some audio solutions and audio tracks that we use to help people get into a mental and mindset. So I use those, my own, to really get myself mentally prepared for my day. So I believe in that voice and that audio to really kind of get yourself where you want to be mentally. So I use my own tools that we use throughout our companies to really optimize fitness.
I love it. I love it. That's a strong routine. It's no wonder every time I see you're smiling and you're talking with enthusiasm. And I like that statement that I win the day in the morning. You win the day in the morning. In other words, you beat your opponent in your preparation. You don't beat him when you show up on game day.
That's right, Danny D. That's it. It's right.
Okay, now here's the last question, but you got to be honest with me. We started this relationship out in honesty, and you got to stay here. Okay. What's the one thing that if your teammates knew about you, they would just go, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" The kind of is your guilty pleasure, or the one thing that your teammate, because you know, one of the things I love about the athlete world is the camaraderie, the locker room, the banner, all of that. And then when you lose that, and basically that comes with that empathy thing. It's because we're so connected that there's always inside jokes, but there's always something that we're hiding from our teammates. You know what I mean? And so, what's the one thing that that you do that your teammates are just go, "Come on, Tracy, no, don't do that."
I would probably say I'm a big fan of singing and dancing and acting silly. I mean, so every time I do that my teammates are probably like, "Oh my God," singing, dancing, and I do it often. There's always a song in my head.
Yeah.
So
well, you see mine. I watch reaction videos, and I know these people when I'm sending these messages on LinkedIn, they're thinking, what in the hell is he doing? But some of these, I watch reaction videos, music videos, because I like watching the person be stunned by, I'm a musician. I've played my whole life. And it's just one of those things that when you play at a level, when you see normal people or other people that look at that and it just blows their mind, I just kind of get a kick out of watching other people's fascination, you know what I mean? Or shock, I guess it would be. So yeah, we all have that guilty pleasures. Ours, no wonder ours aligned a lot. We're in that music goofing around. Yeah. So Tracy Alston. Okay. I'm going to put all of your information in the box below. This has been wonderful. I'm sorry about the cutting out to you. I apologize as a guest, and I apologize to we're going to be having more conversation together. We're definitely going to have many more conversations together. And we're going to collaborate and do some great things together. So I just appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on today.
I appreciate you. Keep it up, my friend. Keep moving us forward. Appreciate you, buddy.
Okay. Have a great day.
Have a great day. See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Tracy Alston. If you can listen to her and not smile, or look at her and not smile, there's no way of doing that. She's definitely one of the people that I look to for motivation, inspiration, and intellectual stimulation. I mean, she's just so smart, and I like everything that she's doing. So check out Mental Fitness Matters. I said I wouldn't do it, but I have to do it. Okay. So it's tracyalston.com. That'll you can find it all there. And that's TRACYALSTON. Just start there, tracyalston.com, and you'll thank me later. All right. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next mastermind.